Rolling.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast with Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
You'll see here the human male boasts the size of his testicles. I drive great when I'm blood. It's all about the sauce. Good, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Oh man, speaking of fucking, you want popcorn? I'll give you a popcorn kit. I'm just trying to go to Colorado and smoke some weed. Watch your fucking tots, huh? Those are my biscuits. Now, this is all alleged.
On today's episode, bizarre news, MMA in the green corner, and a game we like to call This or That.
Welcome to American Slacker Podcast. As always, I'm Matt.
And I am Jesse, and today we are joined by our very special guest and personal friend, Jordan River.
Hi guys, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being
Thanks
here,
for
man.
coming on.
Yeah, of course.
So first off, just quickly, what have you been up to? How was your holiday season?
Oh man, it's been great. Been podcasting like crazy, launching some new shows. You guys know I'm all over, but my main show and my connection to you guys, Growcast, the official cannabis podcast, been ramping up for a big 2019. We got a new producer on board. We do grow advice. We do cannabis history. We do cannabis entrepreneur interviews. We do all sorts of cool stuff. So anyone who's a fan of cannabis, check out Growcast immediately.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And you might be able to catch our news that we do over there, our
Damn right.
Growcast
Love
cannabis
you guys.
updates.
Oh, yeah.
It's great stuff.
And you know, speaking of news, we always like to start out with a little bit of weed news, and I think it's only proper to let you do the honors, Jordan.
Certainly, yeah, guys. I mean, January 2019, what a lot of people don't realize is time flies. Back in 2014 is when Colorado legalized the first recreational legalization.
It's been that long.
Yeah, I know, right? A lot of people don't realize California went medical a really, really long time ago. I want to say upwards of 10 years for sure.
It was like in the 90s, I believe, right?
Totally, yeah. I mean, we're probably coming up on 30 years. Regardless, the medical legalization was so lax there that everyone's been smoking pot in California. What was amazing is when they went from legal medical states to Colorado recreationalizing. There was a wave unlike any other. And it completely opened the floodgates for the other states that have done it now. Looking back, total marijuana sales in the state went from 683.5 million in 2014 all the way up to 1.28 billion in the first 10 months of 2018. So shattering, over doubling the yearly sales.
That's crazy.
Total tax revenue. Tax revenue from medical and recreational sales tripled over the past 5 years. And the largest city has Denver has 216 dispensaries.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
In Denver alone. And between 2014 and 2017, it brought in $1 billion in tax revenue.
Can't get enough of this stuff.
Yeah. When you look at a state's budget, some people will look and say, oh, that's only 1-2%. You're making a big deal out of this. But people don't realize this is spare cash. This is cash that's laying around. And it's going straight into things like schools. There are homeless shelters being developed with this money, stuff that, traditional bureaucracy just doesn't make time for. And what those people also don't account for is the resources that are saved, the law enforcement resources that are saved, the judicial system. There's a lot of stress.
That's a good point.
Pardon the pun, there's a lot of stress that's relieved from a society when they do this full legalization.
Very true.
And then, of course, you can take a look at a lot of crime reports that have been disputed, but let's be honest, everybody knows that drunk driving goes down, fatalities go down when people are smoking pot. It's just an anecdotal truth, and that's what you see in Colorado. So good on them. They're not the greatest state when it comes to their laws. Their taxes are rather high, and they're losing a lot of money because of that.
Okay.
Certainly. But they were the first to do it. They had the balls to do it, and they are keeping up on their regulation, and they're working hard. I respect them as a state. They're not. You take a look at some states like my home state of Illinois, and it's just borderline criminal what they're doing. And Colorado is not that state. They're working very hard, and we should look to them in a lot of different facets as a role model.
And that'll be great for the ultimate federal legalization, which is what we all kind of hope for. for the states that haven't crossed that line, once we get to that point, to look at Colorado as that kind of example, I guess, to say like, hey, here's how to do it right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
It's important to have that.
And also, more importantly, the federal government is so strange in the way they choose to go after certain things and not certain things. Certainly passing a release of the federal ban will be a big deal, but the tipping point has already occurred. Too many states have legalized. The federal government is not going after the states or the people or businesses in those states. So it's kind of already happened. And once it's down on paper, it will be a big deal, but we're there. We're there, people. This is happening right now.
A foot through the threshold.
Yes, exactly. It's we've went past the tipping point, I feel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, there's definitely no going back now. All these states, man. Come on, let's just do it all now.
Now I got even more of a reason to visit Denver. You know, I want to check off every 260 dispensaries. Try them all out.
Yes. Yeah. And
a little punch card.
Denver's really interesting because I've been following the cannabis cultures, and Denver and Colorado, they love their extracts, man. That's what's big there. They love getting their dab rigs, their expensive glass dab rigs, and they love their extracts. And that's what's really driving the cannabis industry. And it's also the higher price premium products there. So
would the pens go under that same category, you would say?
Yeah. Now, pens are generally a distillate. It's a distillation process, separating the different parts through distillation. But anything like a wax or a distillate or a CO2 or even an edible is considered an extract. You're taking THC from the cannabis plant and you're extracting it one way or another. So they're all considered extracts, although it may be butane extract, a bubble hash, a distillate, like you said, or an edible.
Nice. Well, I'll try them all.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do any of them. Bring it on.
In a safe, responsible way.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, in our next story, there's nothing safe or responsible. I'm just going to put it out there at the top. We're talking about, actually very close to me up in San Francisco, a man brought a dead raccoon into a McDonald's and caused the McDonald's to close for a little bit.
Oh, this is not good. Where is this McDonald's? I never want to eat there.
Up in San Francisco, I mean, there's plenty of them up there, but they didn't say which one, so.
Never eat McDonald's.
Good luck on you to not end up at the dead raccoon McDonald's.
It's the new Bandit Burger.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering about this. It was a homeless guy. He wandered in with a dead raccoon. It was bloodied and dead, and he put it on the fast food outlet's table. And people were like, you got to get the fuck out of here with that. You can't be bringing in dead roadkill into fucking McDonald's. And the guy, there's a freeze frame of the guy with his hands up like, what? What did I do? I do this all the time. Come on, man. You're going to give me a hard time. The video shows it all going down. Someone luckily was standing outside the McDonald's filming this all happen. The altercation between the manager being like, you got to get that thing fucking out of here. And the homeless guy just being like, hey, brought that raccoon to McDonald's. What do you want from me? It's very, very matter of fact. What would you guys do? What, like, you're sitting there enjoying your number 3 or whatever your number might be, and this guy walks in with some roadkill. Are you getting up and leaving? Are you getting involved in the altercation? Or are you just burying yourself in your fries?
I'm out of there. You don't want to be around a gentleman that has been carrying this raccoon. He could have rabies, and God knows what else he's been rolling around it.
That's very true. I mean, he set it on the table. At least he didn't put it on. Well, the floor would probably be a better choice, I guess. People eat off the table, man. It's like, come on. Yeah,
I think I'll probably pick up the carcass and just calmly slide one of those thin plastic fast food trays under it. I put it on there.
Take it in the back, get it in the deep fryer.
Yum.
I'm wondering if that was his, like, purpose in all this. It's like, can I get a raccoon burger? Like,
the way you bring a duck into a Chinese restaurant is you bring the whole duck in. They'll cook it for you. You just bring the raccoon into the McDonald's.
The fucking deep fry it with the nuggets, you know?
That's right.
McDonald's was not the roadkill cafe that day. They were not gonna have you bring it in, you kill it, we grill it style. They wanted him out of there. He eventually left, but did not bring his dead raccoon with him. He left it there as like a party gift.
The cargo.
He's like, you know what?
Brutal.
This place is rude. I'm out of here. Fucking dipped out. They actually, police caught up with the guy and gave him, he ended up getting mental health evaluation, and they determined that he did not need to be detained.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
There you go.
I don't know if that's how I would have ended that scenario. Like, I think there's some offense that's been broken here. I don't think there's an explicit rule saying don't bring dead raccoons into McDonald's, but I have to think it falls somewhere in a category that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the demise of the raccoon and that guy's involvement, so.
Yeah. Did he kill the raccoon? Did he find it that
I don't
way?
know. I don't
Did
know.
he witness it and he wanted to get it help? So he ran it into McDonald's? Like he's
He
trying
found
to bring it to a vet?
Nah, he'd be messed up, covered in blood.
He'd be messed up, man.
And the other thing is, like, if you're in the middle of San Francisco, like, okay, if you're on the outskirts of it, like, maybe you're by the park and you found a raccoon, but, like, there's not that much wildlife just running around the city of San Francisco. Like,
Streets of San Francisco.
this guy had to go, like, probably to Golden Gate Park, if I could think anywhere that there'd be a raccoon in that city. And
Oh no,
then
they
he
chill
hauled
in
it.
the cities, man. They thrive in cities, I
They
think.
make it across the bridge, and then I guess they breed.
There's probably a
Yeah.
whole bunch of city raccoons that have their setups there. They're just like their own type of breed.
They're a lot harder, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
maybe they were friends. Maybe he knew this
Oh,
raccoon
man.
personally, and he was
Yeah.
like, he was a fan of McDonald's. It was his
his pet.
last wish.
Way.
Oh no!
It's his dying wish. He just wants to be buried in a McDonald's trash can.
This went from gross to endearing. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I don't think we'll ever know what
Yeah.
what happened or the
I
fate
think it
of
was,
this
like
raccoon.
it was a twisted version of The Bucket List. You guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
I don't know who the raccoon was in that scenario, but they were just trying to give him his dying wish.
Oh man.
So yeah, stay out of the McDonald's up in San Francisco. I think
Yeah,
that's the
definitely.
main story here.
Avoid any McDonald's. Just be safe. The gentleman in our next story was trying to be safe, but out of all things that took him out, it was his dog, man. We got another dog turning on his fucking owner's story, and I'm just
Another
so
one?
this is heartbreaking for me. I love
Is this a
dogs.
regular on the show? This is a regular sketch? Dog
This is-
attacks?
No, this is the second
becoming.
one though in like I don't even know, a month maybe a month and a half. It's
The holidays
crazy,
are hard, I guess.
man. Keep your dogs and guns in separate areas, people. All right. Now,
That's right.
this occurred in Mississippi, and unfortunately, it ended up with a former LSU offensive lineman getting his leg amputated.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, he was out duck hunting in Mississippi with his buddies. He had like 3 friends with him, and he also had his Labrador retriever with him. And apparently, they just had a bunch of ducks in the back of the bed of the truck, and the shotgun was there too.
Okay.
And the dog jumped up into the bed, and I'm imagining the bed was down, shotgun was pointing out of the bed, conveniently around thigh height, and the dog shot him.
Good thing he didn't have a lift kit on that car.
Oh man,
Would have been right in the balls at that point.
or maybe a dome shot. Ooh.
It was a shotgun, huh?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, a lot of damage.
I don't know a lot about guns, but do you have to cock a shotgun?
That's what I was thinking too.
Well, somebody must have been ready to take another shot and,
And
didn't
then they just
And
threw
didn't
it in the
take
back of the
didn't
van.
discharge the round out of the barrel. And even if the safety was on, I can imagine a dog had enough pressure on the paw to push the safety down and then pull the trigger,
That's hardcore, man.
It's a sad mistake. It ended up doing a severe amount of damage to his femoral artery, as well as other vital vascular and muscle tissue. So after a couple hours into surgery, the surgeons had decided, we have to amputate. And that's what led him to this. Now this athlete is missing a leg, man.
That's brutal. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny.
It's not fun. Yeah, it's not funny, but it's just like the dog, it's like, oh my God, man.
It's kind of funny, but
The doctor diagnosed him as a cat person.
Imagine it wasn't even his gun. It was his buddy's gun.
it's
Oh.
brutal.
Oh my God.
These dogs, man, we need a paw-proof trigger
Yes.
cover. It's like this is happening like way too much. The
Way
last
too
time it was just the shotgun, I think, was just sitting on the porch or something, and
Yeah.
ended up like the dog jumped down off a chair and got caught up in it.
Yeah, and shot the guy.
Is this an evolutionary advantage to some dogs that they're going to be able to overthrow humans because their paws can fit into guns?
Planet of the pups.
Or just to at least establish, this is a possibility here.
Yeah,
Turn around of dominance.
Okay.
they're plotting shit, man.
Oh man.
It's terrible that it ended so badly for this guy with his leg being amputated. I mean,
Yeah.
in our last one, at least the guy survived and didn't have much. He was like, don't blame the dog. He didn't mean to. I assume that this guy's holding a bit of a grudge at this point.
You know, it doesn't say, actually. It doesn't say if there's a grudge.
I don't think they'd quote his grudge, but I'm
Imagine
gonna believe
put him
that
down.
he is.
You brought him right to that after in his
Oh,
wheelchair,
God.
and he's walking him in and just done. This one's done. Put him down.
It's like, why are you so adamant about this?
He doesn't even say anything. He's just like cutting the neck.
The dog's just fucking giving him like half eyes, grilling him.
I want to
I
see
should
it.
have finished the job.
I want to watch it. Can I put the needle in?
It's still a better outcome, better average than ex-Vice President Dick Cheney. At least
God.
the LSU guy didn't come out and apologize on behalf of the dog. Not in the face.
Yeah,
Because,
right?
I've seen worse, so
Yeah,
you're still better going hunting with your dog than Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Okay.
very true.
A little bit, but I think it's relevant, so I'll throw it.
Well, Vice just came out, so I mean,
That's right.
It has brought it back to the surface.
speaking of movies that have recently come out, big one is Bird Box, which I have found when talking between the three of us before the show, none of us have seen. We're not Bird Box fans.
Nah.
I feel like I'm personally avoiding it because of the hype.
Yeah, me too.
It's like I don't want to be marketed to. It's like that,
Yeah.
Anarchist middle schooler in me that just doesn't want to conform.
Yeah, one day I'll catch it.
But one thing that we are all aware of is the fact that there is a new challenge going around called the Bird Box Challenge, which involves people blindfolding themselves and then trying to do, everyday things like preparing lunch or driving a car or throwing knives. Like, just everything that you normally do blindfolded. Which, as you could expect, leads to some disastrous results in many situations. You need your eyes, people.
Yeah.
We're not Sandra Bullock in a fucking horror movie. You got to use all five senses here to make sense of this crazy world.
Yeah.
Getting behind the wheel of a car like this teen did in Utah only ends up badly. She ended up crashing into another car after trying to, film herself doing the Bird Box Challenge while driving. The pictures of the results are like, it looks like a full-on like T-bone crash.
Dude, I'm dying thinking about the person who was driving the victim car. And they were just like, is that motherfucker blindfolded? Boom!
Yo, man.
Oh,
You basically...
man.
Also, the fact
is
she
hardcore.
basically fucked her insurance for the rest of her life. It's like, yeah, no, we're not gonna insure you. You're driving fucking blindfolded.
Oh my god, insurance was driving with eyes obstructed by blindfold, doing so-called popular
I'm sure they'll still
blindfold.
find some way to blame the victim. They'll be like, oh, well, you could have avoided it, It's like, the motherfucker was blindfolded. Like,
swerved.
premiums are gonna have to go up.
Fuck.
It doesn't look good on paper, I gotta tell you.
Right?
I can't believe how malleable people are. I can't believe how they can be shown something and you put the word challenge at the end of it, and then they'll risk their lives to do it.
Right.
It's a rather frightening prospect that a significant portion of the population would be willing to do this.
I know, man. I feel like it's very manufactured. Like the marketing for this movie specifically was very like huge in terms of like a Netflix movie. It seemed bigger and on people's radar more than a lot of other stuff I've seen on Netflix. That's probably better.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this was like some sort of marketing campaign that led to all these people, and it's mostly teenagers, that end up doing these challenges a lot of the times because they're using the hashtag. They're trying to like get more famous on Instagram and
It's the
shit.
hashtag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Netflix has actually like issued a response to it, and they're saying, "Please do not hurt yourselves with this Bird Box Challenge." They put out like a whole thing about it.
But marketers need to think about this shit a little bit better. If this was started as like a purposeful thing, like I think that was very ill-advised.
Yeah, and there's liability, by the way.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
At least Netflix is trying to cover their ass with a tweet, I guess. That's how you do it these days.
It gets weird after like the whole Slenderman shit, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Once that happened, it's like, oh, we gotta be careful about these like things that get spawned off into a whole like thing.
Go dark.
People will copy any challenge, which is why I propose the mind your fucking business challenge. Like,
Hell yeah.
stop fucking bothering people.
Hell yeah.
Why don't you film yourself like just going about your day and not fucking like interfering with someone else's shit, you motherfucker. Put that on Instagram. Fucking tweet that shit.
That's too funny, man. I mean, hey, if there's one thing I hope for my children is that they're not malleable enough to put themselves in a life-risking situation because someone used a certain hashtag at the end of their tweet.
Jump off the bridge challenge. Everyone's fucking doing it, man. It's fucking launch yourself off fucking Deer's Bridge.
You know, I had this idea a while ago, like a half-baked, maybe web show idea or movie idea about a trend of people posting selfies of their own death. Like people who are about to die and they're like I might as well, like, you know, like being eaten by an alligator or whatever.
Selfie.
Hashtag deathy.
Hashtag YOLO.
It didn't really pan out, but this is an idea that I think this is where this is all headed, the ultimate culmination.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it might be one of those things where it's like they've given a name to it. Now people are like saying like, oh, that's the cause of the death. But the rise in selfie deaths has gone up over the past few years. I mean, now there's a name to call it. But a lot of people like backed off cliffs and shit.
Yep.
Trying to take a selfie. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
We were talking about this like an episode or two ago, how like, you know, if like the apocalypse happened or even if aliens invaded, motherfuckers would be like, first motherfucker with an Instagram with an alien. And it's like vaporized after as soon as they hit post.
Looking like Thanos snapped his fingers and just half the
Done.
fucking population dissolving away. It's like, yeah, gotta gram it. So yeah, don't do the Bird Box challenge, or if you do, at least put like a creative twist on it that's not gonna get you or someone else hurt.
Man, I could sure use a blindfold fucking before I watch this video. That is our next story, man. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there was a gentleman recorded on a doorbell licking it for 3 hours.
One doorbell?
Yeah, he was licking a doorbell. Well, I guess the camera's not, it might be an old school camera, but it looks like doorbell height, so I was assuming it was one of those nests that caught it. And, well, actually, yeah, it is a nest, because the lady was actually alerted. She wasn't home. The lady that owns the house was alerted, like, at 5 a.m. And she was like, okay, something weird's going on, you know? So she, like, triggered it and saw this dude just licking the doorbell. And he sat there for 3 hours. And Jesse, you should be concerned, because this happened in Salinas.
Yeah, I know, man. I used to work in Salinas,
This
and
dude licked your shit.
not my shit, man. Keep my shit out of it. Fucking, I did have to edit this video for work, and yeah, it's very sexual for like a man in a doorbell. It's probably the most like.
It's creepy. He like
gross.
looks into the camera too, so it's like you're almost like feel like you're in one of those like. Fucking from like what is it called when you're viewing like
it's like a voyeur
voyeur porn yeah it's like that.
I'm quick with the terminology.
Thank you.
I see you in there, man.
You scroll Pornhub a few times. Yeah, well, good thing this guy has been caught because the image was so clear and he made eye contact, which was creepy. And so
You're
please
supposed to
really
close your eyes when you kiss, I thought, right?
yeah, please identify this guy right away. He has been caught. We can, you know, we don't have to worry.
You'd rest easy, uncover your doorbells, people.
Was it Raccoon Guy? He made his way to Salinas.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were real far for a doorbell-looking adventure.
They scooted him along like Rambo in First Blood. Posted him down. And then they kicked his ass right out into Salinas.
There you go.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm just glad that they got him, because, I mean, this guy running around, who would have known if his victim would be next, you know? I mean, how many doorbells is it going to take?
Well, you know he's got a ton of free time, too, because he was there for, like, 3 hours. So it's not like he's like, oh, gotta get to work. No, he would have been out there doing it again.
Neighbors said they heard a knock, so he probably got a couple other doorbells while he was there. I mean, that's probably wasn't the only one.
Oh, yeah, that was the only one with video proof.
Yeah. They fucking bleached everything, they said.
That little slut just came from another doorbell. He's making out with all of them.
Oh, man. What a tramp.
This guy's not getting the flu, man. This guy's, if we're sending someone to an alien colony, this is the guy. It's immune.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Either that or the staff is fighting the hepatitis and winning.
Oh, no.
In the fight of the century.
It's disgusting, man. 3 hours of just gross doorbell licking nastiness. Someone that saw the video that I edited of this incident said that they felt offended by the video, and I've never like actually heard someone say like they were offended by something they saw. Like I've seen tons of terrible shit.
That's what I was saying coming into this. Like,
But it's pretty gross, yeah.
it's offended, borderline violated.
It's the eye contact.
The eye contact's what pushes it. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Never make eye contact. Come on, man.
Always look down at the phone.
We don't know each other.
It's where we
don't
look
know
now.
each other.
Can you cleanse our palate from that last story, Matt? With something different.
We're gonna cleanse, from a few stories. Well, let's not hold bad vibes against dogs. All right, they're not all
Okay.
bad. All right. Our next,
Yeah, true. But they did get a bad rap this time around.
yeah. Dogs can be funny, man. Sometimes they come even broken, which is hilarious. This dog, I'm gonna say, is kind of broken the way he's waddling around, and the music adds all the better to it.
You got the Mario Star music playing.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. We'll be posting it Friday, I believe, right, Jesse?
Yes, Friday
Yeah.
on our Facebook, we will be putting that funny clip up for everyone to check out.
Hell yeah. All right. And now we're going to get ready to go into the green corner. But before we do that, here's a word from the Murder Mile podcast.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Think about the second set of passing. Man, I gotta go and get it, grab it. Why you gotta go and naked savage? Smoking weed, I gotta feed the
Hi, I'm Michael, host of the Murder Mile True Crime Podcast, which was nominated as one of the best British true crime podcasts of 2018, is based on my 5-star rated guided walk, and features more than 300 untold, unsolved, and long-forgotten murders, all set within 1 square mile of London's West End. So if you love hearing about new cases for the first time, old cases through a fresh pair of ears, and classic cases with a twist, all researched using the original declassified police investigation files, written using first-hand accounts, and recorded using authentic sounds from the murder location itself, then Murder Mile is just for you. Download the Murder Mile True Crime Podcast on iTunes, Acast, or your favourite podcast platform every Thursday. Thank you for listening, and stay safe.
Fight!
And we are back. And it is time to talk about what's been going on in the UFC. It's a fun time to be a fight fan. I feel like it's just getting better and better and better instead of hitting these peaks like it was for a couple of years. Talents being, utilized a little better.
Yeah. What do you attribute that to?
Well, it seems like since the changeover, the sale of the UFC, it's been
Good since then. That's true.
Yeah, that you can't help but kind of contribute to that. But Dana's obviously the driving factor. If you look at the progressive scale from when the original purchase of the UFC in 94.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's always been on the upcome.
That's when the UFC 1 was around.
Yeah, it was a big thing for a while. Went down again in popularity, and then the 2006 to 2010 era was huge.
Yeah.
You had a lot of huge names in there, and people started
pride.
to, get into it. Yeah, pride too.
That a lot of movie stars came out of that wave. It seems
Yeah,
like.
man, a lot of B
Bob the
movie
Beast
stars.
is that-
Wasn't that
maybe-
like Rampage Jackson and like?
Oh man, so many people. Yeah, Rampage Jackson was in a ton of shit. Yeah,
A-Team.
man.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. But, I actually have a theory on the progression of the UFC and why things are exciting now. Because people used to refer to Pride in the early days of UFC as the golden age of MMA.
Yeah,
One of the reasons it was so attractive is because the styles were separated. It wasn't
Yes.
homogenized martial arts. It wasn't mixed martial arts. It was different styles. So
yeah.
you
To see the best.
you would actually see the guy get in the ring, get in the octagon with a gi. That's
Yeah.
not something you see anymore, and that's what made it so special. There was an era, but what happened was you had the tough man era, and everyone was beating the crap out of each other, and then it was the wrestler era where you had to learn how to wrestle or you were fucked. Mark Coleman, those guys. Everyone learned to wrestle, and then there was kind of an era I feel of actual mixed martial artists versus mixed martial artists, where everyone had to learn everything. You had to have tight striking, you had to have takedown defense, you had to have grappling, and you had to have jiu-jitsu. All of those things, once everyone kind of reached that level and normalized, it then reverted back to, okay, well, who grew up doing karate? Yeah. Stephen Thompson was doing karate since he was 4 years old, and he was beating mixed martial arts strikers because he knew takedown defense, he knew all that stuff, but he also had the tweak. Okay, so what separated fighters used to make you weak. If you didn't know takedowns, you were fucked.
Yes. Yeah.
Now what separates fighters makes you strong. Everyone knows takedown defense. You need something extra. You need a capoeira background. You need karate since you were 4. You need to be a jiu-jitsu master.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is you have to train in everything today if you're going to be successful. You're not going to be just a jiu-jitsu master and come in and to be successful against every different opponent you face. You have to have a background in everything. You got to be equaled out and really, you might be really good at one thing, but you're going to have a great background in other things too.
I think specialties are back. I think the days of Randy Couture's are over. I don't think that it's as much of a game of strategy anymore. I think you need specialists. The champions can all do things that others just can't.
And athletics, man. I mean, we're talking about, people are just in the peak, and we're with testing now. I mean, it's just, we're getting the full, it's a leveled off area. And now you're seeing who's truly a better athlete, or at least really damn good at cheating.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah. And there's a lot of that coming up.
Yeah, man. One thing I wanted to start out talking about was, did you guys see about Polyana Viana getting
I heard about
robbed?
This.
Well, somebody tried to rob her.
Yeah, someone tried to rob her.
Ooh, robbing MMA fighters, not the best thing to do.
Exactly. And as you can imagine, it really didn't turn out well for this gentleman. He had a gun, but apparently it turned out to be a cardboard gun. And I've heard multiple versions of the story. I've heard that she felt it and realized it wasn't a real gun. And I've heard, she just took the chance and said, he couldn't pull it out in time before I could land 2 punches and a fucking kick that dropped this motherfucker. And then she put him in a fucking rear naked.
Oh.
And yeah, man, I'm going to show you guys this photo that Dana White had put up. And it's hilarious what this guy looks like. So, as you can see on my screen right there.
Oh, yeah. Right kick?
Yeah, he got messed up.
Man.
Right high kick broke his fucking face.
Dude broke his shit. On the left is Polyana Viana, one of our UFC fighters, and on the right is the guy who tried to rob her. # bad fucking idea.
No, that reminds me of when I think it was the Diaz Brothers in Vegas or something. Someone tried to fight them in the bathroom, or one of them, I believe. And that didn't turn out well.
Yeah.
For
There's
them
quite a
either.
few videos out there of former fighters and current fighters really getting into tussles, and with street people, normal people with no fighting knowledge, you're fucked. Don't even. You're just.
You don't know who's an MMA fighter these days. You really can't tell.
You should be careful, man.
Just assume everyone is.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Fuck with anyone with fucked up ears.
Yeah, especially look for that. You're done.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How's that looking? Is that camouflage? Okay, yeah. No, I'm gonna let you.
His asshole's ears. You look like an idiot. Smash.
It's like motherfucker.
So moving along, Jon Jones. A lot of shit going on with Jon Jones, man. I mean, can we talk about the fact that the UFC moved the fucking venue a week before the event to fucking suit just so he can headline?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We'll have to talk about this, man, because I'm excited to see what you think. Should we talk testing first? Because there's 2 schools of thought, right?
Yeah.
So did you hear the Nowitzki interview with Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I listened to that. It was really, he painted a somewhat clear picture about it, right? It seemed
and
like
he provided science. He provided science that says this is what happened, whether or not that science is a total lie or whatever. He made what seemed to me to be a reasonable explanation. What seemed to Joe
definitely does.
Well.
But there's still a lot of controversy. A lot of people are saying, there's some shit going on there.
Well, Brendan Schaub came out against it. He's the main anti-USADA guy, right? Brendan Schaub.
He always has been.
Yeah, and he put out a video. He said basically that USADA is now works for the UFC because Nowitzki has an office in the UFC building that somehow makes him a traitor. That automatically right there, and how they're doing all this special treatment for Jones, which appears to be true. I don't buy that a professional like Nowitzki would just like have a whole career of anti-doping, and then just because the UFC shows him a certain amount of money, he just like turns into a complete. That's not how these experts work.
He's an ex-federal agent. Like, fuck no. He's not like turnable like that, I would imagine.
I don't know.
So people are claiming that he's being given favor by the UFC in order to push through big headliners for fights?
Precisely.
Okay.
And because other fighters have been caught with the same thing, same low levels of turinabol, the steroid that Jones was using in the past, and they've gotten busted. So people point to that, but the science has changed.
They're saying that there's no real advantage to it, though. You know, like that's the thing is there's no real advantage to that chemical being in your body, really, and especially for Jesse, it was 20 picograms, in this, which is really the minimal amount. Like our testing is barely catching that. And apparently what they're saying, 20 picograms, which is like a grain of salt divided by, I think, 58 million, Nowitzki said on Rogan's podcast. So
they're arguing that that's not enough to really
it could,
do
and
it.
plus that this chemical could be something that pops up and then disappears and pops up and disappears.
Way later if your body is processing it.
Metabolize it, yeah.
That's.
And I've also heard that there have been issues with the supplements that people take and the places that make them not cleaning out the equipment and showing up with other drugs in tests.
And Jones has a party lifestyle, and that's another thing that people are saying is attributes to it. You could do some cocaine or some MDMA that's been mixed in a thing that made some other shit. He just came off a
suspension for cannabis.
Yeah.
Right.
And apparently, like Rogan was saying, creatine cuts cocaine commonly. So, like, in most creatines, like, aren't really regulated well.
And they could be tainted.
Yeah, tainted with other shit. So he could
that makes sense. But here's the thing I want to ask Shab is if USADA has a stranglehold on all this testing and they're the first to see, that's what he said in this big rant, is Nowitzki gets the test results. Why do they even release the test results then? Why don't they just not release the test results? I don't buy that Nowitzki's in the pocket of we would have never heard of this. Who saw this before Nowitzki that made him come up with the conspiracy? Why not just throw it out and you make maximum money?
There is the thing that, like, the whole thing that Jon Jones fucking helped USADA with something that they won't release what exactly it was. So basically, that could mean he's a snitch on something.
And that sounds like a federal agent to me. That's the federal agency I know. In which case, if he's helping clean up the sport, I don't know. Well, how bad is that then? I don't know.
And did Johnny look a little different to you when he was fighting? Now, did he look a little like muscular-wise? Did he look a little leaner?
Yeah, he looked really good.
He looked different to me. He didn't look as buff, I feel like.
Yeah, he looked a little leaner. Nothing screamed steroids to me about his body. I feel like that he's probably more dedicated now than he's ever been, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I think that reflected. I didn't see, like, his body didn't scream steroids.
No, it made me wonder if he was on him beforehand, though,
Hey,
because he used to look brutally big.
Here's the thing. Yeah, because Brendan Schaub said, listen, like, if you look at this guy's behavior in the past, like, he's done all this, like, bad stuff, like the hit and run with the pregnant lady in the car. Like, he basically was attacking his character and saying, this is the type of person who would take steroids. And I'm not saying Jon Jones is clean, but I don't think that because Nowitzki has an office in the UFC building that it means he's in their pocket. That's fucking retarded. He's an expert. He's a resident expert. He's been doing this for decades. Yeah. And he's not just going to be like, $10 million instead of like a regular bribe or whatever. Okay, I'm in your pocket. That's not how these experts work, dude. They're weird. They're lawful. They're super dedicated. Maybe someone got screwed in the past and shit's different now, but I don't believe the puppet story.
Yeah, me neither, man. It's independent from UFC. I mean, I feel like regardless of the money, it's still, there's no reason for them to rely on that. They're trying to keep the sport clean. And he seems authentic about it.
Man. It's a corner office.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to have an office for someone who's a resident at your establishment.
Yeah.
If besides that, I mean, that doesn't scream kickback to me.
Yeah. In fact, if you were doing that, isn't it the last thing you'd want? If you were receiving kickbacks, it's like, okay, well, let's also put your office in the main building. You'd be like, no, let's stay the fuck away from each other.
Yeah. And now they're saying that he's going to be tested more than any other fighter on the roster in the next year. And also, on top of USADA's testing, there's also going to be randomly done tests from Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, the VADA, which is interesting. So 3 to 6 months of that. So he's going to be tested from so many different ways, and let alone any commission that he wants to fight under for the next 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're definitely going to get results, like whether this is like, that keeps popping up in picograms, or if there's nothing, I mean, he's going to have to walk the line.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't like the lack of personal responsibility in all of this, because it's a really frustrating situation, and there could be cover-ups or whatever. But the bottom line is Jon Jones fucked up. Frank Mir is
so many times.
Yeah, Frank Mir is complaining because he got boned way back when for the same thing. Well, guess what? You probably fucked up too. The kangaroo meat, I'm not buying that. If you got busted, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a random thing, and that's super unfortunate. But if it's because you're doing coke and like not checking where your supplements are coming from and not sticking to the approved list of supplements, it's fucking your fault. So Nowitzki can get in and shake shit up all he wants, but I do not feel sorry for Jon Jones. I don't feel sorry for anyone who gets busted. And I'm not even that anti-steroid. It's just fucking man up. You fucked up. And if you want it to stop happening, stop doing fucking cocaine.
Yeah, because not fessing up to it and just stringing it out as like a larger problem, like, it just becomes so much bigger than like, all right, this person takes a penalty and then now we move on.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, we have to investigate where the supplements are made, or like you said, maybe it's the kangaroo meat. Yeah. Like it becomes like a
real
fucking Chewbacca defense. Like,
he has the chance to go down in history as an icon, a household name. And I feel like to risk it for any stupid shit like that is just, it's out of control. Like, choose to not do this anymore if you're going to half-ass it.
Just fight and then party when you retire.
Yeah, do good for the next, 5 to, 10 years and then fucking hang it up, dude. Because you have the chance to be, the Michael Jordan of fighting. I mean, the number one household name, for the beginning of this to become a main popularity sport. Mm-hmm. He's been around for over a decade.
Do you think he wants that?
I don't know, man. I need more. I saw a couple of post-fight interviews, and that was not Jon Jones. He seemed weird, man.
Yeah,
he was just distracted, just saying kind of random shit. So it's I don't know if he's aging or if he's just it's too much for him to be sober and focused. He doesn't wind out anymore.
Do you think he's an addict?
I don't know, man. He could be. He acts weird.
Yeah, I kind of get that weirdness, and some people call him a sociopath because of the shit he's said and the way the
dude, he goes back and forth with DC.
And then running away from the scene of the crime, and everyone pointed that, but he might just be an addict and have serious issues with reality.
Yeah, man.
That would add up. That would make a lot of fucking sense.
The whole scenario, even with the doping thing, I feel like it's something that, probably just only Jon Jones is the one who's going to know the truth about any of this shit, really.
Yeah.
Who knows if he had a coach that was helping him, dope, or if it's just unfortunate,
Well, people have gone to crazy lengths to avoid the doping agencies and shit,
always,
hiding under the ring and stuff.
I'm pretty sure Jon Jones, didn't he run away from him a bunch of times?
No, he never ran away. Vanderlei Silva ran away and was banned for life. Jon Jones, anecdotally, legendarily, according to lore, hid under the Octagon in the training gym while the guy was there, and that was never confirmed. But
I've heard that story.
It's a weird thing to make up. Why would you make it up?
Yeah.
It's a very specific detail.
Street under the ring. That's pretty specific.
Man, fucking following the move, fucking how they moved the whole event in 1 week. Nate Diaz, did you see his fucking tweet? It creaked me up. He was like, "Oh hell no, USADA can't come over anymore."
That's right.
And then his next one was where and it's got 2 needle icons, plug ?
Holy shit. So he's just trolling him?
He's pissed. He's always got something to say. He walked out on the conference when they announced Connor's last fight against Khabib.
Oh, that's right,
when they surprise announced it, he was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he just walked out.
Well, because he's been wanting a piece of him for a while.
Yeah, he wants the trilogy, and let's be honest, the fans want it, let's just fucking get it over with. They have to do it, and I feel like if it doesn't happen, it's going to be one of the greatest tragedies to happen to this generation of UFC fighters. We got to know.
I think it's really indicative, too, of what's going on. It's kind of a combination of everything, right? The super disagreeable fighter. Let's be honest, the Diaz brothers are super disagreeable.
Oh, my God.
Connor winning the second fight which by all accounts would not happen unless you're scoring round by round like the UFC does in the traditional style. Nick Diaz wins that fight in pride. Nick Diaz wins that fight if you score it as a whole fight, in my opinion. I could be biased in that, but at the very least, they're letting this thing slip because not everyone's playing ball, and it's Nick's fault and it's Dana's fault, and Conor's too big for his britches. It's very indicative of our time, but I love it. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. That's just kind of what comprises all of it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely want to see that shit, but I mean, Conor's on a money drive, so I don't know when we'll even see him come back. Fucking the Diaz brothers, what they're up to right now is just crazy. Though. They haven't fought, Nate's been inactive since 2016, and Nick's been out since I think 2015. Which his last fight was like fucking that no contest with Silva, and the two losses before that,
God,
dude.
Back then he was laying down and shit. Like, you're not fighting me here, but that sums up his problem. He's like frustrated with everyone else, but it's totally his fault.
Dude,
what do you think is the difference between Nick and Nate? I feel like Nate is like kind of losing his mind a little bit.
I was just gonna say, like, he's got so many posts that he's put out that have been taken down, and like, but
nonsensical.
People recorded them and put them up on fucking websites, and it's like, dude, you can't make sense of it. Like, you have to like write it down and try to decipher what the fuck he's thinking, because it's like just craziness. Like, it's not even sentences. Like, and it looks like he's drunk in half the videos too. Right?
Yeah, he could be drunk. I think that. I know that there was issues about a cocaine test after an arrest.
Ooh, I was wondering,
He could be an addict as well, to be honest.
He was ranting, man. Like, and he was in like some nice environments with like mad people around, so.
It's just weird because, the constant like drug and alcohol abuse combined with probably very little like mental expansion. He's probably like doing it every day, like thinking the same thoughts, like I'm the greatest, like they won't give me my fight. I think that's like doing something. I don't see the same thing in Nate. Nate seems a little bit more aware.
I think we'll see Nate before Nick makes his return, because Nick's got some shit to deal with. But
if Nick couldn't come back versus Masvidal, when is he coming back? He's never coming back, man.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. And Dana's saying he's gonna make him beg, like, for his next fight.
It's never gonna happen. Nick is never gonna beg.
Yeah, no, fuck no.
I don't know any MMA fighter that's willing
especially
to beg
the fucking
for
Diaz
anything.
brothers. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, like, they've already banked some money away. Hopefully they're not pissing away. But I know Nate made some money in the fucking cannabis industry last year. He had some whole venture that he ended up making on. But I mean, the fact that Nick turned down the whole fucking fight there at 235 just because the number didn't add up to him is kind of crazy, man. I mean, you should be wanting to fight at anything right now. Get your name back out there. Get a whole ton of new fans that have been coming in the last few years. I mean, Jesus Christ. You guys are going to become nobodies if you wait too long.
I mean, I'm the biggest proponent of marijuana ever, but you need to sober the fuck up for 10 minutes, Nick, and realize that we're going to forget about you. You're going to get passed over. Your relationship with reality is skewed. We all want to see you fight. Mm-hmm. He is one of the greatest ever.
Oh, dude. Both of these guys have the potential to be fucking the greatest. Like, I mean, their endurance is insane.
So you need to do the right thing and fight for what might be a 5-figure payday. Or a 6-figure payday, whatever it is, you need to do it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, man. Not call the UFC rude for their offer and just turn it down.
I mean, I totally get it where he's coming from. I just don't think he fully grasps that if he doesn't get back on the train, we're not going to see him again. And as a fan, that makes me super, super sad because I love Nate. He's one of the most entertaining fighters ever.
Yeah.
But Molotoving every bridge you're standing on isn't really going to get you that far.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. It's just a relationship issue.
Yeah.
Networking, like whatever industry you're in, like that rules pretty much everything. That's how you get ahead.
Yeah. It's wild.
Pissing everyone off and being out of touch with reality isn't going to get you that far.
Yeah, they definitely, like,
even in MMA,
center the world around them when they do any type of deal for fights. Like, and Dana, like me and you were talking before, Jordan, like Dana just doesn't have the time to deal with that shit. So, I mean, he passes by it and was like, whatever. He gives them offers. I mean, you can't say he doesn't.
Yeah, totally.
Well, because he's running a business and they're worried about their ego half the time.
I'm curious to see after the Poirier, like, cancel out what Nate gets next as an offer. Because, I mean, it's got to be coming up. It's got to come up.
Maybe a different organization. Maybe they belong in I could see them going to a different organization.
You imagine they go to one?
I don't know. That's a good point. Well, they wouldn't move there because you got to move there, right?
Yeah.
You got to move
True.
Go to one.
True. Yeah.
Singapore,
you're
damn.
right. I forgot
And
about
Singapore's a
that.
fucking
That's a
weird
change.
place, man.
You would
Is
have
it
to live
Singapore
there.
that they're moving to?
They would never give up California.
Oh, good point. They would never go to Singapore. It's like a fucking, you'll get caned for having any drug.
They would never
Never
go.
go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck no.
I didn't think
Fuck
about
no.
that.
He's good. I imagine he's gonna stay in the UFC at least another fight or two. There's no way he's gonna go out yet.
I don't
Like
know.
at least Nate. I mean, shit. I feel like there's a lot of competition out there for him.
Leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
And just letting you know, possession of cannabis in Singapore can result in a maximum 10-year
Yeah,
prison
there you go.
sentence or a fine of $20,000 as well as caning. So yes, you're not wrong
Yeah,
about the
Southeast
caning.
Asia is fucked up when it comes to their drug laws,
They're
man.
not down with that.
Some corporal
Yeah, they like
punishment
kill
for you.
people for fucking
They will
smuggling,
kill
don't
people. They killed, and sorry, I'm going to bring down the podcast. They killed an Australian model for ecstasy, and the Australian government couldn't get her back. And that was in Bali in
Wow.
2010. I read that when I was about to
shit.
go to Bali. I'm like, okay, I'll leave the weed behind.
Man. I would just also have to hate. I would hate to be the caning dude for the MMA guy that fucks
Oh
him.
my god, no.
Like,
You can see him in a bar.
Fuck,
like,
don't kill me.
"You fucking caned me. Not so big.
it's just like you smack him and it doesn't even move.
Oh god, this is where we queue up proud to be an American and all light joints beautified.
Yes, yes, fucking right, dude.
Oh man. What's your opinion on Colby Covington?
Oh man, don't get me started.
Is that your boy? Is that your boy?
Fuck no, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. I can't blame Colby for his antics, right? But
He's getting up pretty frustrated, and he has reason to with the interior and bullshit. But we'll get into that.
here's the thing about Colby, man. Colby saw what Connor was doing, and
Yeah.
he literally said, "I want to do that."
Yeah.
The problem when you're doing something like that is you can't expect to be treated the same as the original creator.
Yeah.
You can expect to have the same results, because if you go and look at Colby's old interviews, who he presents himself as throughout 2018 is not who Colby Covington is as a person.
Yeah.
It's super important that we all understand that. That's not who he is as a person. That's an act he's putting on. Connor's not the same way. Connor leans into his personality. His personality is there.
Yeah, it's authentic.
But he leans into it, and he created this model, let's call it. Colby decided to combine that with being a heel by doing the whole Donald Trump thing and the whole like firing up like anti-racists and stuff like that. Again, fine. This is the path that he's choosing. When it all blows up in your face, don't be fucking surprised. You're treating people like shit. Connor didn't treat people like shit, okay? He played along with Dana. He played along. He pumped himself up. Sure, he was trash talking, but it wasn't. He wasn't treating people poorly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Colby's not been an agreeable, or he's kind of monetized the hate that we're feeling in this country, and now he's surprised because people aren't bending over backwards to give him a fight.
Yeah, he's literally like throwing fits on UFC. I mean, the one tweet he put out, listen to the people, Uncle Fester. You can't do the Bird Box Challenge forever. And then he has like a photo of like Dana with like the fucking bandana.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's like literally going and insulting the dude who could literally just halt your career, bro.
Colby is a victim of complete unoriginality. Even the text you just sent me, like, it's not like, what are you doing? What are you trying to accomplish? He's doing what he's seen other people do, and in his mind, they successfully.
He ripped off Trump one time. It was like, I'm gonna grab them all by their pussies and like, I don't know what else what it was, but I was just like, oh, like, come on.
And it's
man.
a shame because he's a good fighter, and what he's trying to do is like make more money. Fighters don't fucking make enough money. Let's be honest. They're getting brain damage. How can I make more money?
Yeah.
The problem is when you're completely unoriginal and unauthentic and start pissing people off, is soon that's going to come back to bite you. And don't take personal responsibility for that. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know,
and it goes back to the Diaz brothers too. I was watching a cool documentary with them, and actually Anthony Bourdain was in it. Yeah, it was really cool. He was with the Diaz brothers, and they were talking about it, and like, I think it was Nate actually. He was like, "Man, I started looking at numbers, and I saw there was money being made." So he started getting greedy, what everybody else was making, and then fucking, started to, turn down fights, get a little more attitude towards the organization, mainly Dana. And it's just, I think the greed is like, it could fuck your career,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But greed is a strange word because they are leaving part of themselves in the ring.
Of course.
They're kind of like, it's an awakening, right, to the numbers. What they don't feel is fair. What they don't see is all the crazy bullshit where the other money doesn't just all the other cash stockpiles just don't dive right into Dana's pocket.
Exactly.
To run this sort of thing, and the response shouldn't be, hey, this is fucked up, I'm going to cross my arms and give everyone the finger. You should be working on your own shit. Me and Matt just had a great conversation about Demetrius and how we're never worried about Demetrius, and we're never going to have a expose done in 30 years when he's brain damaged and broke.
No.
He's fucking smart. And he comes up with his own shit, and he finds his own talents, like his Twitch channel, and he monetizes them, and he works on them. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, man.
Oh man, and he's such a smart guy when you listen to him. He is a great guy. And I mean, he's going into one now in that trade. We were talking about him for Askren, and man, he's going to succeed over there in that Grand Prix.
Oh, for sure.
I would imagine he's an easy call.
He's going to be lifting it up, dude. Fucking video games aren't illegal over there. He's going to be playing video games on the beach. He's going to be fucking killing it.
He's a straight arrow, so I mean, he has nothing to worry about with drugs or fucking alcohol, you know? So
that's what we all want. That's what we all kind of want. We want the best for everybody, but it's hard.
It's disappointing to watch him turn like that, you know, like where it's like, you know, like you got to put in a little work before you can start demanding things like Conor McGregor. I mean, Conor McGregor brought the industry a whole ton of money real quick. It was pretty quick, his success rate, you know, like a couple years.
And he became like a household name. People who don't even know MMA know who Conor McGregor is.
A couple years, like, you know, in the UFC, I'm saying, you know, he's had a long MMA career, but like a couple years in the UFC to becoming the first athlete to cross over into a huge boxing match like that, you know, intertwine organizations. Now Dana's involved with boxing, with Zuffa Boxing. It's crazy, man.
Connor's probably done more for one single sport single-handedly than any other athlete of our time that I can imagine. I mean, you think about Michael Jordan, but again, the NBA where it was before Jordan compared to the UFC, it was much bigger, I feel.
Right.
But what Conor's done is amazing, and to think that this guy had this deal, so I'm going to get this deal is kind of absurd. Conor also gave everything to the UFC. He fully played into the UFC. He was a yes man, and guess what? If you're a yes man at a successful company, you're going to make more. And I'm not saying like, you know, a yes man has a bad connotation, but let's just say if you're all in, you're going to make way more money. You just are. You think Conor was greedy over his first? Conor got what. The reason why Conor got all that money is because he was asking for what he was worth. If he would have asked for too much, he wouldn't have got it. And the numbers ended up being really high because he provided that kind of value.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You learn about being successful is you provide value first and then you ask.
Well, yeah, when your numbers start to surpass the organization on social media, I mean, that's when you start to wonder, hey, do I deserve a stock interest? You know?
And guess what? If you're not worth it, the answer is no. But he got those things, so clearly he worked his way there. The Diaz brothers are probably leaving so much money on the table. You guys, can you imagine the amount of sponsorships or products that they could release?
Man,
how much does Pride cost, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, it's going to end up
millions,
where they have
I guess, in some cases.
But you have to be responsible and secure your future. That's the lesson that these guys sometimes don't learn.
Yeah.
You have to, at some point, you have to be responsible and secure your future.
Oh yeah, man. And I mean, the fight game is a very short game. Like you can't do this for long, and not many people survive it without any type of serious injuries. I mean, let's be real. Most of these guys are fucking sewn back together like fucking robots. You know, they're just pieced back together after these fucking wars they go into. I mean, getting into later, I'm very excited for Cain Velasquez, but I feel like we're going to see a different guy that's been patched up by so many surgeons. You know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, you know, it's kind of sad. Just touching on it, you know, Colby did get skipped over with the interim shit. I think the interim belt shit needs to stop. That's one thing I did want to touch on. I'm just.
Hold on. I guess I'm against it, but needs to stop. Do you think we should take a step back? Do you think we should go back?
No, but I think that they need to be easier on it. I can't remember if it was Shab's podcast they were talking about it, where he was like, he had a good suggestion, you know, just use it when somebody's like injured or there's a real reason why, you know, a champion can't fight, you know. If somebody's being a dick, take it away from them.
Is when they have it between people who aren't isn't the current defending.
Yeah, there's a champion out that's still
doing
holding.
More important stuff. He's doing a boxing match, or he's in a different weight class, or he's selling.
Conor spawned this shit. That's the downside of a big champion, where they're like, we can't fucking strip that guy. We'll piss him off. Like, you know, like if Conor left, he could fucking give another organization a hell of a start to bringing in, you know, viewers. So I mean, he could really fuck the UFC like that, you know, at that time. You know, it's crazy to see this shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel sorry for Colby in this case because he didn't conduct himself well to this point. So you really shouldn't be super surprised about that. I think as far as belts losing their value, it's a progression of the sport. I don't necessarily love it, but I've been watching this shit for 15 years. I've seen a couple different progressions, and this is another one of them.
There's been a lot.
I also think the bigger the sport is, the better it is. I believe that. I'm not one of these guys who's like, man, he used to be like small time and cool. I think that the more people who are out there watching this and pursuing their dream, and the more money that's being made and the more tax revenue, I think that's all good things.
It's amazing. We're gonna see the true talent, man. I mean, that's why everybody, like, when people are like Ronda Rousey was the greatest, it's like among a very small talent pool. The same that Cyborg succeeded for so long.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
In a very, very isolated talent pool. You know, there's nobody in that weight class. They had to make a weight class for her and find people to fill it that could get to the weight. And I mean, it's just like, you know, I wanted to touch on that with you. Like, do you think that they're going to do away with the weight class now that Cyborg's pretty much, you know, been defeated?
I don't know. That's a really great point. I don't know what they're going to do with weight classes in any divisions. You know, they're talking about cutting the flyweight division. Maybe they'll get rid of weight classes altogether. Joe Rogan's always spouting off about that. Talk about sports history. Has any division or any game accelerated as fast as the women's mixed martial arts division has in the past 5 years? Dude, I mean, it is insane level of competition.
Yeah. Man, insane.
Yeah, even among the same fighters. Like if you look at Watterson, for instance, if you look at her 5 years ago and just how far she's come as a fighter. I'm not saying that new people are coming in and replacing. I'm saying the whole thing is an entity. Like the whole community has accelerated in skill so much since Rousey was coming in there and throwing bitches on their head. The only thing I can think of is Punker accelerating in the early 2000s. Everyone just getting so good so fast. Other than that, there's never been this kind of skill level increase. I think it's fucking great. And I think if they build it, they'll come. The girls will come. I think they need more women. I think they need more women fighters at any cost, more women superstars immediately.
Yeah, well, there was concern, I feel like, you know, the first time they were announcing a women's division, if it was going to be a novelty, the way they did it.
Yeah, I remember Foxy Boxing from the 90s. It was
God.
It was a joke. It was worse than a joke.
Yeah, and it turned out they weren't just signing pretty ladies. They were signing killers, you know? And people were like, oh, shit, this is crazy. The girl fights, I feel like they had so much pressure, too, that these ladies were putting on such a performance on
Especially
top of it because of
beginning.
that. They were like, you know what, we're in spotlight. Like, we're the first... you know, here in the monopoly.
They did. They stepped up and they showed that this isn't bullshit and that they are talented. And I feel like they were appropriately rewarded because now it's huge, especially with Rousey and now Nunes, you know.
Nunes is amazing. Lioness.
Fucking awesome. It's like we're pushing social boundaries with this sport. It's just really cool.
Yeah. First double champ from the women. First openly gay champion in UFC history.
A lot of records.
So many records, man. She's fucking so amazing. Like, I think we're gonna see a long career, and I think her name's only gonna go up too, man. Especially like if they keep that division, and she just wants to keep wrecking bigger girls, like bring them in.
Yeah,
we'll see. Oh man, I don't know. I couldn't imagine. She's probably gonna go back to bantamweight though. I mean, there's more competition there. A lot of fucking big names.
I don't know what rearranging they're gonna be doing. What do you think about Cyborg after that knockout? Holy shit!
I guess we skipped right over that, huh?
Was there a game plan, Matt? She as soon as she got connected, she planted her feet and held her head up in the air.
It looked like instinct kicked in to just fight for your life and attack. Like, you know, like a rabid animal would just fucking fight. Like, you know, it's just...
This seems so amateurish.
Any plan went out the window, it felt like.
Yeah. Maybe she just wasn't ready for the power or...
So, I'd imagine that's exactly what happened. She fucking went in there and that first shot changed Cyborg right away. You know, you could see the hesitation for a second where she laid off and then she got whapped a couple more times and then aggression came back. You know, it stuttered everything. Mm-hmm. Fucking, man, I just can't believe a minute Cyborg lasted. You would have fucking never seen this coming. Like, I really thought that Cyborg was going to have quite an advantage being the bigger frame. So too. Yeah. You know, and man... just 50 fucking something seconds.
I have to say Nunes is probably one of my favorite females for the fight.
I knew she hit hard.
Her name keeps popping up.
Like
She's just like doing really well.
Yeah, she's a class
great
act.
Example. She's a fucking
But
class
like,
act, man.
like you were,
Man.
like you were saying against Cyborg, like you kind of like you put those two names up there, and if you know anything about MMA, you're like Cyborg's a fucking beast.
Yeah. I was listening to her talk on UFC Unfiltered with Matt Serra and Jim Norton, man, and she is just like the nicest lady, you know, and she just never says a bad thing about anybody, and just you know, she just wants to get better in everything. Like she's one of those people that's willing to admit she's constantly learning, you know, and you know she realized in the moment she had that fucking as soon as she hit her, she had it.
She's a real champ. She conducts herself like a champ. It's like what, you know, you look at Jon Jones and that's kind of what he's lacking. Maybe that's why he's so crazy and so awesome. But it's like you see how a champ should conduct themselves. And you think of GSP, you think of, you know, Mighty Mouse, and you think of Nunes as a great example too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Her coach, Cyborg's coach, Perillo, said something like she went to straight like disrespect mode. Which she was saying like basically she didn't like really acknowledge that she's in there with a fucking top class fighter that's very skilled. You know, you can't just bang it out. Like she's relied on.
Can't handle that. It's like Holyfield versus Tyson. It's like if you don't have that, Diaz versus McGregor, same thing.
Lesnar versus Velasquez.
Yeah,
quickly.
It's like your name doesn't mean anything to me, and now you're in deep trouble. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was definitely, man. I mean, and she's definitely gonna make her weight too. That was another thing she said because Cyborg made her weight to fight. So Nunes was asking for 2 years minimum before she gets a rematch. Which Cyborg's contract's up at the end of January, so it'll be interesting to see if she stays or goes over to the women's division, something. You know, who knows? I mean, she could go anywhere. She's another name that's, you know, people would go to see, especially if she's gonna rebuild her career up again, and then who knows, come back. Who knows, man? I doubt this is the end for Cyborg in the UFC in total, but I wouldn't be surprised if she went somewhere else for a little bit.
Sometimes they let people go. Here's the thing about what I've learned about working within like a successful organization at all. You have to look out for yourself. You can't expect the company to be your parent or to have any sort of compassion towards you. They're a company, they're a business. You're part of it. You should ask for what's fair, and more importantly, you should focus on your own shit. And that's all you can ask. Don't expect any sort of care from an entity that's been written down and legislated on paper. That's all it is. So
you're part in the machine.
Totally. So I think that everyone needs to understand that and work on their own shit, because that's what 2019 is about. A lot of like what you guys are doing. The most valuable thing you can have now is an Instagram following. That shit didn't exist a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely it's like one of the first things you check when you interact with people. I feel like, you know, in the entertainment industry, I feel like it
can give you a little bit extra clout.
Your badge of honor. Yeah.
So you want to run your pirate ship, even if you are working for a company. You want your own fucking side hustle. You want your own pirate ship, and that solves these issues that we're talking about. You know.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Hopefully, I wish the best for Cyborg. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I hope to see her continue on in the UFC and maybe make her rebound, come back. But only time will tell, man. And definitely we'll probably figure out pretty soon what the plan is.
Yeah.
Now, moving along real quick, I wanted to touch on Francis Ngannou is going to be fighting the returning Cain Velasquez. And, you know, I got a lot of feelings about this fight. I mean, both guys are not the same. And what I mean by that is, you know, obviously Francis got smoked by Stipe, not expecting that. And then we saw a different guy come into the cage the next fight. I mean, he fought Derek Lewis, and it was like a terribly slow, lacking all the cardio in the world fight. I mean, it was insane how tired those guys were.
Well, forgive me, but didn't he fight again?
He fought again. Now, yeah. Coming back to it, he's got a win against who did he just smoke?
He just knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah. It looked a little better, but it looked a little better. It did look a little better, but I mean, I'm talking about how scared he was in the ring after the way he fought Derek Lewis. He was like afraid to get hit. You know, it was a different guy. You're talking about a guy who just straight aggression. You know, it's kind of like the Cyborg thing. He was just straight.
Blades.
Curtis Blades, yes, yeah. He beat Curtis Blades, in the first round?
Right? Knocked him out in the first round, I believe.
Yeah. That's his last fight. All right, we're talking Cain Velasquez, one of the most dominant heavyweights of all time.
Yeah.
All right, I feel like we're going back on the Stipe thing. Like, I don't know who we're gonna see in the ring. You know, I don't know if we're gonna see, you know, full on aggression, King Kong, fucking rage. Francis, or if we're gonna see the guy that's afraid to get hit because he's fighting a fucking dude of caliber that's like Stipe. You know, we got like one of the best heavyweights of all time here. You know, but then again, we got a guy coming back from multiple surgeries, multiple injuries. Do we have Kane?
That's what I worry about. Is he's been operated on a lot, and I think that the bottom line is you got one guy coming up, right? And I think that Ngannou he showed his amateurism because he is an amateur, and I think he's grown a lot, and I think he's going to continue to grow. I think Kane, I don't want to say he's on the way down. That's kind of a fucked up thing to say about one of the greatest fighters in the world, but
he's exceeded his prime.
Closer to retirement.
Yeah, there you go, and he's not.
He's 36 years old, man. You know, he's getting up there. Most guys don't fight into their 40s.
I think Ngannou's ascending. I think Ngannou's the future champ. I believe in Ngannou. How old is he? He's in his
Francis is 20s.
He's really young, yeah.
Yeah, Francis is definitely in his 20s.
No. Yeah, 32. God damn, I thought for sure.
Oh, okay. They're a lot closer.
So he was over 30 when he got into it.
And supposedly that's the back end of your prime. Again, they're heavyweights, so you can go later. You know, you can't get away with being old in the lighter weights, but I think Ngannou's the future champ. I think he's growing, and that power is unlike anything else. That's the extra advantage that we've been talking about.
You're gonna take him in this fight?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
1000%.
I don't know, man.
I think Francis is gonna hurt him in the first round and either get the finish or get it in the second.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Kane hits pretty fucking hard, and Kane's takedown is very strong.
I love Cain Velasquez, dude. I think
Kane is saying he feels young again. I don't know, and he looks pretty good. You know, he's hard to judge because he never had like that lean ass physique. He had that wide body, fucking a little bit of fat, but you see some six pack peeking through. You know, like he was just a big dude.
That means you got some fat to burn, and you can get into 5 rounds.
He looks like that a little bit today still. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I seen some video. It looked good. He looked good training. I want to go with Kane. I'm going with Kane, man. I think Ngannou's going to fold under pressure again.
Interesting, because he's fighting a champ again. That's the difference. Is Curtis Blades is no champ. Kane doesn't have a belt, but he is a champ. I think Joe Rogan said it, so I'm not like a pioneer by any means, but Kane in his prime was the scariest and best fighter of all time, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anyone who was more dominant than him. So
watching him laugh off Brock Lesnar, the freak incident, was amazing. I mean, it was like just had him crawling and flying around the ring and rolling around. It was like, and it was nothing, you know?
Yeah, so my heart tells me Kane, but my brain tells me Ngannou in the first.
Yeah, the youth is there. That's definitely for sure. And if Ngannou can harness this and really, work with his coach and get this plan, to just be tightened, we could very well see it, and then he can go for his next round going towards DC.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I don't know. This heavyweight division is just it's so interesting, and we need some fresh blood in there is what we need in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little stale.
Trades coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some new youthful contenders coming in. I mean, I was looking at the list of new fighters for the UFC last year alone, and it was like hundreds of them, that debuted.
Yeah,
so it's really good.
Like 600 fighters on the roster, 500 fighters.
Yeah, I think there's closer to 600 now.
It's a small army.
Yeah, definitely got a good amount. So we'll see. It's definitely a division that needs to get more talent in the pool and more fights out there.
Definitely.
Now, UFC is returning to Russia, and you have been to where this is going to be, huh?
Yeah, St. Petersburg, Russia, man. I went to St. Petersburg.
Now, how is that place? Is it rowdy? The crowd going to break out?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, the Russians are great people. This Cold War bullshit that we invent between our countries, how Russians feel this way about Americans and Americans feel this way about Russians, that's all bullshit. I went over there. Everybody was nice. No one cared about politics or any of that stuff.
That's good.
We went over. It's really clean. We went to the Hermitage Museum, which is the second largest art museum in the world. It was founded in the 1700s.
Wow.
Extremely cultured city. It's beautiful. The people are beautiful. But the Russians are crazy and they love to fight, and they'll fight over anything. They'll get in a car. There's a couple countries I've been to where it's common practice to fender bender someone and then get out and fist fight them. And Russia is one of those places. Seriously, it happens in Egypt. You'll see it driving.
Whoever wins pays the damages.
I'm not sure if it's Queensberry rules or what. They fight round by round. But it was amazing. I had a ton of fucking borscht soup, beet soup, and I had bear. And it's a beautiful city, and I think it's a great place to host UFC. And the Russian people fucking love to fight.
That'll be cool then.
They're hoping to fill this new stadium there that can hold up to like 80,000 people, man. They're hoping to fill that bitch.
Wow.
They're not sure. Well, they're not sure if they're gonna do the whole thing, but they're trying to. I bet you they're gonna try to fill it. I mean, with going to Russia, it's gonna be a big event. They're gonna have Arlovsky fighting.
Big city too.
So he carries some weight, especially internationally. You know,
yeah.
And they got a whole slew of Russian fighters too. They're gonna put on that card.
That's great, and I think any promotion that we can get between these two countries that just have such bullshit animosity towards each other. Let's be honest. There's no real. This is bullshit left over from 70 years ago. You know,
it's so weird,
you hold any hatred in your heart for the Russian people.
Yeah, no
one fucking cares.
No one cares. Yeah.
So
I'm a big fan of vodka. So.
Yeah, and even now we have the political stuff going on, and I still think if you get to the vast majority of regular people, I still don't care. I would love to see this go down in Russia and see the Russian fighters, and I'll probably be rooting for a couple of the Russian fighters.
Yeah, right? Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. Fucking great card, and it's good to see these relations, the international.
Who's headlining that card? Do we know yet?
The next step that would be pretty cool would be seeing the women's league fight in Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, yeah. One day, man.
That is a stretch, my friend.
One day.
Let's get there.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But yeah, St. Petersburg, beautiful. I'm really excited to see the shots over that city.
Man, it's gonna be interesting too. Yeah, it's gonna be. You know, they're gonna stack that card. They're gonna stack it.
Yeah, looking right.
Oh yeah.
MMA bringing us together.
Oh yeah, baby. And that about wraps it up for now, man. I think that's all we got for the green corner.
Awesome.
Sweet.
I love it.
Well, be sure to stick around for after this promo. We're going to be having a game that we like to call This or That. And the promo that we'll be playing for you now is from the Yes and I Am podcast.
Hi, do you like celebrities, comedy, and pop culture? Well, then I have the podcast for you. I'm Aaron Max, host of the Yes and I Am podcast, the podcast where we learn about people. Each week, we take comedians and improvisers and give them a celebrity to play, and I interview them. And guess what? Sometimes the comedians don't know who this celebrity is. And that's when the real fun comes in, and we learn a little something we didn't already know about these people. So go and check us out. We're on iTunes and all other podcast sources. We are Yes and I Am, and we will see you guys next time.
And we are back from our little promo break there. We're going to get into a game that we like to call This or That. It's kind of like a would you rather. Me and Matt have made up a couple scenarios here to propose, and we're gonna see what the answers come out to be. We'll also include some of these on our Facebook group, so be sure to head over there. We always like to hear what you have to say about them. Matt, you want to go first?
Oh, I got one.
Give us our first scenario
I got
here.
one. You won a contest. It's awesome. You got your choice for your prize. You get tickets to any UFC event, all of them. Like all UFC events, all year, 2019, right?
From here to the end of time. Oh no, to the end of the year.
End of the year.
Okay.
Let's not get crazy here. Or you get infinite cannabis products. It doesn't matter what it is. You got a dispensary supercard. You walk into that place and they're like, oh, give him whatever he wants for 6 months. Ooh. What do you love more, Jordan? Do you love weed or the fighting?
You know, to me, the answer is clear. Not just because I do prefer cannabis and the magical plant to many of my other hobbies, but you know, I get the same feeling as when someone puts me in front of an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. This is a challenge of principles. This is like a universal. This has come together to this point in my life to consume as much as I can, consume my body weight. That's really what I'm going for.
There you go.
Prove to the universe that I do, in fact, deserve this pass or this.
We're like, we just got to give it to him for life at this point.
So it's a challenge. I would take it as a personal affront to my honor, and I would go with the cannabis gift card.
Nice.
I think I would do too.
I think I would have to as well.
Yeah. I figured. I was like, I'll see.
I got this weird supermarket sweep fantasy going on in my head where I'm just like pulling weed off the fucking shelves.
Fucking old school bales of weed.
If you caught me like eight years ago in Humboldt County, I would have gone with the other one. If you want
I got all I need.
Yeah, if you want that free weed experience, go to Humboldt County. They can't even give it away.
Oh man, we're gonna need a break after the 6 months. We're gonna have to take a tolerance break for sure because it's gonna cost too much to smoke after that.
The tolerance break is called sleeping in.
There you go.
You're gonna sleep for 3 months after that.
So our next scenario is kind of based off of our news. This or that 3-hour doorbell licking marathon or a drive-through bird box challenge.
Man,
you got to do one of them.
You won a shitty contest this time.
Yeah, this is two bad choices. You got to pick between.
I got to go through the drive-through with my car.
Your
car blindfolded.
Ding up your shit.
Or
you could.
Or lick one of your neighbor's doorbells.
Hey, you might pull it off. You might get through there slick.
Shit.
And you can pick one that doesn't have a Nest camera, so it doesn't have to be
public,
blown out across national news outlets.
Yeah. I gotta go drive-through.
Oh man, he's a risky man.
Is that based off of your confidence in driving blind?
Yeah, it is actually. I perform a lot of my activities blind. You know, I try to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night blind all the time. I pee all over the place. So I've been training. I've been training for this for quite some time, and I think driving is going to be no different than urinating. And I think I can get through there with ease, as opposed to I'm more concerned about the 3 hours. Give me one lick, I'm done. I don't give a fuck. I never get sick. But
I feel like my tongue would get tired.
3 hours, dude. That's something. That's commitment. So I'm not.
Yeah, I'd go bird box challenge drive-through as well, just because I want the challenge. Like I know what licking a doorbell for 3 hours is probably. I could guess.
I know that you want it. I know it's one of your.
I could hazard to guess what that's like, but. But no. I feel like I might be able to get through the drive-through, at least have some funny dents to talk about after.
Oh man, hearing those noises though, with that bandana on, like,
as long as there's no screams, I guess, right?
Yeah, true. There's screams, and you better take that off your gun and get out of there.
Reverse.
The same dead raccoon.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, that raccoon.
That's what did it. It was Bird Box Challenge, fast food Bird Box Challenge.
Oh, running over
rest in peace.
All right, now moving along, my next one is related to the first one I knew you guys would choose, the cannabis products. Let's see how much you love your cannabis, all right? All you gotta do, I mean, hey, no weed for a month, right? Right? Or,
next.
Yeah? Oh, okay, I figured you'd say that. Or you gotta fucking spend a minute in the Octagon with Amanda Nunes with no holds back. Like, she can do whatever she wants to you.
Oh, fuck.
Holy shit. 1 minute?
1 minute, man. I mean, no holds barred. Like, she can do anything.
I'll go 1 minute in the Octagon.
That's
fuck it. It's gonna suck.
No holds barred though, so she can continue striking me if I get
well, all right.
Out,
she can't kill you. She can't kill you, all right?
The fight's over.
We'll put that down.
So
TKO is the rap.
You have to suffer a TKO.
1 minute or TKO, whichever comes first.
Now, I have some striking training, and I can move. And I'm small.
Can you move Amanda Nunes fast though?
I could move. I could probably get away from her for 12 to 15 seconds. I think I could cut that off. And then
can you move better than Cyborg?
I think you tighten up. You turtle up. I think I'd have to go with. I think I might have to take the break.
I'm taking the break.
I don't want the permanent brain damage.
I'm taking the break.
I'm in the Octagon, boys.
Yeah, no.
Bring it on.
I would pay so much money.
Jesse's never sparred. He's like, I think
we start saving now for 2 years.
I just know it's gonna suck.
If we could chip into a little piggy bank and just get the money to pay her to independently, one-on-one with Jesse for 1 minute.
We could probably sell ads.
What are you guys doing to me?
Yeah, we could sell ads. This is happening.
We can make some money.
I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So our
you nailed that one.
So our final one is also a fight related one. This or that, fight an extremely stoned Joe Rogan, or fight Tommy Chong while you're extremely stoned. So, either you're fighting Joe Rogan stoned or fighting Tommy Chong while you're stoned.
After you, Jordan.
Those are our choices.
I that's tough because I'm pretty confident I could beat the shit out of Tommy John. Even though
That's what I said.
See, that's what Matt had said earlier when I proposed this. But
I don't want to.
I'm talking about sluggish, like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf on Wall Street on Quaaludes.
I can barely see. I've taken so many edibles that it's like, I don't know what planet I'm on.
You don't think Tommy Chong could kick in the dick while you're stoned?
Dude, he could hit me with that jab if I was stoned enough. I don't think I could respond.
But then again, a flow state stoned Joe Rogan is very dangerous.
He'd crush your ribs, man. That guy can crush your fucking ribs. I gotta go Chong, and hopefully I'm just, so numbed by the cannabis I won't feel the pain and the shame. Man.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'd do the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to fight Joe.
Same, man. Yeah, he's even more deadly once he smokes or has an edible.
He just gets this look over his face, dead fucking emotion, starts breaking your bones.
You've seen the memes, that Rogan look where he looks down and just keeps looking straight, looks at you and he's got that. Oh man, no, I don't want to see that. It's like a cyborg from Terminator locking on you, and you're just like, fuck.
Right. Oh god. So that's all we got for this or that. We'll be posting these up in our Facebook group so that you can chime in, tell us who you want to fight, and and all that fun stuff.
Doug Benson or Cheech Marin?
Oh,
there you
man.
go.
Doug Benson, easy pushover.
Doug Benson. Yep.
Put him to sleep or put him out real quick.
So this was great. Thank you for coming on the show, Jordan. It was a great time talking with you.
Oh man, you guys are hilarious. Thank you guys. I'm down anytime. Go to growcastpodcast.com or just find us on any app, whatever podcast app you listen to. Look for the longevity podcast coming out this year. Most cutting edge information and highest leverage strategies to increase your lifespan. I'm sure I'll let you guys know about that as it develops. And at Growcast on Instagram, at Jordan River IG. Follow me. I'm playing poker for charity and eating lots of udon and shit. So follow me.
Nice.
Awesome. Definitely check them out. If you wanted to check us out on a personal level, you can get at Jesse at Landers of Plane on everything, and myself on MWG Media on Instagram, and Matty G from HP on all the other shit. We love each and every one of you, and thank you for tuning in. And until next time, that's it.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
We smoking America. We passing America. I'm mapping America. I'm second America. We talking America. We blazing America. This is fucking America. We're second America.
This has been American Slacker Podcast. You can reach the show by searching American Slacker on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit, or send them an email to americanslackerpodcast@gmail.com. You can download and rate American Slacker on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and all other podcast platforms. Visit the show's website, aspodcast.com, where you will find every episode, official merchandise, and links to their Patreon if you would like to support American Slacker.
We smoking America. We passing America. I'm mapping America. I'm second America. We talking America. We blazing America. This is fucking America. We're second America. Bitch, I'm on a mission. Better pay attention, man. I gotta get it till my fucking digits hit the fucking limit. Shit, I'll never finish, but I'll end up winning, even though I'm sitting.